Alright, welcome to edition number 1 of my Sleepaway Camp reviews. Obviously this is Sleepaway Camp Part 1 in this lovely box set that I got recently, and I mentioned in What's in the Bag Son episode. Apparently this one is very hard to find with this symbol on it because Red Cross got a little bit pissed off with this marketing scheme that this company put out, but this is 4 Sleepaway Camp films up to, well, Sleepaway Camp 4, but what the heck was it called again? The Survivor, that's it. Yeah, originally I had seen parts 1 and 3. I saw the third one first, which I rarely do. I'm very OCD like that, where I like to watch films in order, but it happened that I watched the third one first, and then I watched the first one. This is my second viewing of the first one, actually. And the second one I had not seen until tonight. So my next review, obviously, will be the second film, and that's my first time ever watching it, period. I also bought this box set on DVD because when it comes to Scream Factory releases, their collector's editions, I don't buy them unless they come with a slipcover. And the Sleepaway Camp films 1 to 3 from Scream Factory in the collector's editions are pretty much impossible at this point to find with slipcover because they were released so long ago and they only release a certain amount of slipcovers, so once they're gone, they're gone. And I was sick of looking for them, so I just bought this box set for like $60 or something like that. And it came with 4 films, so I'm happy with that. Happy enough for now. If I ever find the Scream Factory editions with slip, I'll buy them. Or if any other boutique label comes up with special editions for them, I'll buy that instead. We shall see. But getting into Sleepaway Camp Part 1. Again, this whole franchise is infamous, but the first one is absolutely grade A infamous for so many things. As promised, I'm not going to spoil the ending of this film. The ending of this film was spoiled for me. For the longest time, I heard it had one of the most surprise twist endings that horror films and slasher films ever could have. And I tried my best for well over a year, close to 2, to avoid anything, any talk on any horror podcast, on any YouTube reviews, on something. As soon as Sleepaway Camp was mentioned, I just shut it off or skip ahead or whatnot. And I did that successfully for a long time, but it eventually got to me. The spoiler caught me, and I was spoiled on the ending of this film. So I am not going to do that to anybody who's watching this review series and doesn't know the ending of this film. Just go watch Sleepaway Camp as fast as you can. Friggin' rent it if you have to, or buy the DVD of it or whatnot. Just find it and watch it if you're a horror fan and you don't know the ending. Don't let anybody spoil it for you. Go watch it yourself. But I'm going to be getting into the plot of the film. I'm just going to skip over that end part. This film has some of the worst acting I've ever seen. I love B films, okay? So I've seen some pretty shit acting. The acting in this film is not. I don't understand how they weren't doing it on purpose. I don't get how the director was not like, okay, we want bad acting, so act bad. Act stupid, okay? Act as stupid as you possibly can, because that's what we're going for in this film. That's what must have happened, because, good God, this is like 80s cheese acting, but done on purpose, because the dialogue and the screenplay and the script is just bonkers on how people communicate with each other. It's so unrealistic and not like real life whatsoever. But story-wise, you get this girl named Angela and this boy named Richard, and they're cousins, and their Aunt Martha is sending them away to summer camp. and Angela is very shy. She's basically a mute for half the film. She doesn't say anything, and she has these big eyes. She's definitely a starer. She stares at people, especially people she doesn't like. She's just the most awkward girl you can see. Richard is kind of the cool kid. He definitely fits in summer camp, and you can tell he likes being there. And his Aunt Martha is just batshit insane for the sake of being batshit insane. Just she's just loopy. You think she's acting bad, but I think it's part of her character. She's always like, Richard, Angela, time to come downstairs. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. Well, that shut off quick. Anyway, so yeah, she's she's so eccentric. It's not even funny. Like, they just wrote her to be eccentric for the sake of being eccentric. They don't even bother explaining it. Like, they don't bother explaining a lot of things in this film, which I will get to. Just they throw things into the plot and into the screenplay that they just don't bother explaining. They're just like, it's there, this happened, let's move on. These kids go to summer camp. The editing is also atrocious, along with the acting. So editing and acting and directing, I would say, are just a triple bill of crap. But not taking away from the fun of the film. Like, this film is a classic specifically, and a cult classic, because of how much fun it is. It's not like Troll 2 territory. It's not quite like the Tommy Wiseau's The Room territory, but it's definitely one of the best so bad it's good slashers ever released, ever. So it has that going for it. The film opens with a boat accident. It's so strangely directed. There's a father playing with his two children, which obviously is Angela and Richard, as like years before. They were like 4 or something like that, or 5. And they're on a boat, and they jump into the water. They're playing around. There's another boat, a speedboat, with a couple on the boat, who, the girl's really hot on that boat, by the way, pulling somebody who's water skiing in the back. And dumbasses on the boat are like looking backwards, and they don't see the other boat in front of them, so they're about to ram into these two kids and the dad. And they do, and they skim one of the children that were in the water, and it automatically cuts to the father being on shore again, like he just teleported to shore. It doesn't even show him swimming away. And then it just cuts to the girl who was water skiing in the water. They don't show, like, it's so jumpy in editing that you're kind of, it leaves you confused in a way, because it's like, whoa, like, how did we get from here to here? And then the girl who was skiing in the back of the boat is just screaming now in the water. She's like, help the kids, help the children. And one of them is dead already. He's just floating. And the father's on shore, just like, the dumbest look on his face. Just horrendous directing. Like, that's the question. Is the director trying? Or is, like, trying to make it terrible on purpose? Or is this an accident that became this hilarious cult classic? We'll never know. I don't know. Maybe I'll find a documentary, which there is some on Sleepaway Camp, that'll actually answer that question for me. But we shall see, because I haven't seen it yet. Like I said, Angie's a very awkward girl who stares at everybody. The camp is called Camp Arawak. There is a chef character, everybody knows exactly where this is going, who is just a very open pedophile, makes really inappropriate jokes openly. He's like a fresh new batch of kids, and he calls them baldies, and he says that they make his mouth water, and the guy beside him is just kind of joking back with him, and he's like not thinking that this is a weird thing for some guy in his 30s or 40s to be saying about kids in a summer camp. But it gets a lot worse from there too. This guy's just open about his attraction to children. It's very weird. Um, how he has a job, I don't know. But there's a scene that Angela, the girl and well, one of the main stars in the film, next to Richard, um, how do I describe this? She she's very shy, and the counselors can see that she's shy, so they send her to the kitchen so that Artie, this pervert, can get her something to eat from the kitchen, and he, takes her to the back and is about to do something until Richard comes along, and he's like, "Not a word from you. Don't tell anybody. Yada yada." It's pretty sick. Nothing happens though. So, other than Angela fucking him up because Angela's a little, and she's the main killer. Everybody knows that. That's not much of a spoiler. She's right on the front cover. She's, the girl that slashes everybody in this camp. And being as awkward and weird as she is, it's not really a surprise. So she ends up, there's this massive, like, pot of water that this guy is boiling corn in, and it's about to boil corn. He's salting it and everything, and he has to climb a ladder to get to the top of it. While Angie comes behind him and pushes him, so he's kind of like over top. He's holding onto the wall or like a shelf over top this big ass pot of water, and she is about to pull the ladder from underneath him, and he's freaking out because if he does, he's gonna have to like hold on to something. Like the whole pot is gonna come right on top of him, which it does. He pulls the ladder, the whole pot comes on him. It's a really great practical effect on his burns because the blisters are just coming out of his face, and the the excruciating pain that this guy must be feeling is such a deserving and called for kill scene in this film. It's probably the best, I could say, compared to the other kills in this film, which are all great. This one takes the cake just because of how brutal it is and who it's done to and what happened prior in the back, whatchamacallit, the pantry with, him and Angie and him pulling down his pants and shit. Moving on. Guy gets burnt badly and taken to the hospital. There's a baseball scene. The mullets are crazy in this film. The tight shorts on men are everywhere. I'm pretty sure this guy named Bill is actually wearing girls' jeans. He has to be. Those have to be made for women. There's no way those are men's. Even in the 80s, even in the friggin' 70s, those can't be men's jean shorts. They're so tight and they're so short. I know there was a different fashion back then, but Jesus Christ, you have to see these shorts. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They have this thing called the social, where it's a nightly thing where everybody gathers in the game room, you could say, and everybody kind of hangs out. There's Angela, very quiet. She gets bullied a lot, but she also gets protection from her cousin Richard. He's always sticking up for her anytime somebody's messing with her, which is nice. He's a nice character. He cares a lot. He, like I said, fits in. He's not really a shy kid or like a nerdy kid. He's well liked in the camp. He's a foul-mouthed little fucker, and he really cares for his cousin. So he's a good character all around. But yeah, she gets bullied. She gets bullied by these two specific kids. I think it's Bill and is it Kenny? Yes, Kenny. Kenny and Bill, I'm pretty sure, because Kenny is one of the first guys that Angie gets revenge on, other than the pervert chef. Another fashion thing is that men have like half cut shirts that just like go up to here and their whole fucking lower half is showing. I guess that was a thing. So Kenny is going boating with one of the girls, Leslie. I was gonna say Lizzie. Leslie, and they're boating. Their boat capsizes, and then he goes under the boat. He's kind of trying to tease Leslie and all that, and then here comes Angela underneath the boat and drowns Kenny for being a bully previously. How she got into the water while there's like 15 people on shore, and there's guys in the water skinny dipping and all this shit. How she got into the water, swam underneath the boat, drowned Kenny, and then got out with nobody noticing her is beyond me. But logic in this whole franchise is out the window. Um, Wait till friggin' part two. I liked. I give up on the TV. Fuck it. You've already seen it. Um, there's a scene the morning after where somehow again this boat that capsized shows up on shore with Kenny underneath it, and the one of the counselors flips over the boat and there's Kenny's decaying-ish, but like body full of leeches and seaweed and shit. And there's a snake that crawls out of his mouth. It's pretty disgusting. The body actually looks really real for a practical effect. And obviously the snake crawling out of it looks, it is real. But it's a good effect on cringiness, especially if you hate snakes. It's a good one. How did the canoe get on shore? Like I said, who the F knows? She meets a guy named Paul, and Paul takes a liking to her, obviously, and she does to him, and she's the first, he is the first person that she talks to, so he wishes her a good night, and she's actually like, good night, back, and that's the first word she says, so pretty much he ends up being the only person that she communicates with, and they start to form like a cute like romantic bond, and they are like, he invites her to a movie even though the whole camp is going to the same film, but he's like, would you want to go with me? And she does. I find that pretty nice, except when he takes her like to the side of a cabin or something, and he goes to kiss her. She takes it, but there's this weird music that plays. I don't know, the direction was he was going for like awkward and quirky, but I mean, it works, but it's still kind of like, it feels out of place in that weird way. Yeah, he basically like pecks Angela. Like, it's not even like a makeout or anything. But she freaks out and goes away back to her dorm. There's these two girls that really despise Angela, Meg and Judy. They bully the shit out of her. These girls are notorious and atrocious. They piss me off because they bully Angela so much. Angela is awkward and she's mute basically, and she doesn't say shit to them. But these girls are just so freaking catty and mean spirited, and my God, like they just take it so far. There's a scene where they throw her in the water, knowing that she hates water and she hates swimming, and they just torment her. But of course, Richard is always there to help her too. I love the scene where Meg shakes Angela because Angela's not speaking, and she just grabs her and she's like just violently shaking her head. It's just so over the top and so stupidly directed and so stupidly acted, just like the entire acting of this film. Like, just like I said, the acting by itself makes this such a cult masterpiece. It's bonkers. It's a bonkers B movie, B slasher, like cult piece of cinema. Like, it's just so perfect for how bad it is. It's crazy. There's a scene where a bunch of guys are on the roof of a shed, and they're throwing water balloons at Angela, and Ricky takes notice of this, and he runs off and he's mouthing off. This is the part where he just unleashes his friggin' F-bomb banters. He's like, you fucks, you cunts, you faggots, you everything, just every word in the book, just. And then the counselor, what's his name, Mel. Mel comes along. Mel is another character that is so memorable in this film because he's he's a lot of things. He does not like Richard, and as the film progresses with the slashings and the murders, he suspects Richard for no apparent reason, really. He just for whatever reason in his mind thinks that Richard is the one slashing all these people. There's no evidence that points to him other than him kind of being a little bit of rebellious kid, but and sticking up for his cousin, which why wouldn't he? But he has this thing over him. He's also having this kind of relationship slash affair with one of the camp counselors who's in her 20s and he looks like he's in his 50s or 60s. Good for him. Whatever. But, you know, you don't see that every day, right? Especially when it's just, you know, an old camp counselor with a young camp counselor who, you know, he's just an old Joe, like, you know. But again, good for him. Meg and him, so Meg and Mel, one of the bitchy girls. She has the hots for this Mel guy. But yeah, like I said, he's a big character too. And he's one of the worst actors, hands down, hands down. Pretty much every like young character, like Richard, Angela, all these kids, way better actor than this guy is. Like this guy just nails it with bad acting. I guess is that an oxymoron? Nails it with bad acting. He does. There's one of the kills involves Angela there's this guy on the toilet and she puts this like wooden broom to like lock the door so he can't get out, and then she takes a beehive on a stick and puts it through the windows and shakes it so the bees can go like sting the guy. He, you know, could crawl underneath the stall because it's like a public bathroom. He could crawl underneath the stall, or he could just kick the door down. Like it's not like the broom is made of metal, but he still got stung to death, and that's a cool practical effect too. His body's like stung all over, and they really make that gruesome as well. Angela starts to kind of push Paul away, and Paul ends up not hooking up, but making out with Judy, one of the bullies that bullied Angela, and Angela kind of sees them in the forest making out, and then she gets all jealous, even though she was the one pushing him away. But then she stops she goes back to quiet mode with Paul, even though Paul was one of the only people she started talking to. And after that, she starts to get really batshit insane, where not only does she kill people that like wrong her, but she just starts killing everybody, including a scene at the end where she basically takes an axe and hacks up a bunch of kids. Just kids sleeping in sleeping bags on some retreat, you know, with one of the older counselors, for no apparent reason other than the fact that she just snapped with everything, with all the bullying and her love interest going for someone else that she kind of blew off. Which leads to the final conclusion, which, again, like I said, I'm going to skip. There's this huge twist that happens involving, you know, flipping something on its head, and then it goes to the last shot of the film, which just focuses on Angela's face and her making this creepy ass face, like infamous face. Did I do that right? Maybe. We'll see. Maybe I'll thumbnail, maybe not. So that's the last scene, that's the last frame, and then credits roll. And it's bonkers, man. It's a bonkers film. Felissa Rose plays Angela. She does a Very creepy job. Yeah, if you want to see a classic 80s slasher film that is set in a summer camp, which the best slashers are, and that has hilariously bad acting through the entire thing, and cheesy ass dialogue that is completely unrelatable to how human beings actually talk to other human beings, Sleepaway Camp is the film to check out, and will be a cult classic for a long time in the horror community. That's basically as much of a nutshell that I can put Sleepaway Camp in. It's a lot of fun. That's all I gotta say. And yeah, the other ones are coming, so stay tuned for those. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. Lots on the channel, lots more to come. Until next time, take care, and cheers.